What up, you guys? It's a little bit after midnight here in Singapore. Rasathi coming at you live. And, I've been seeing lots and lots and lots of Joker posts. And while I haven't seen the movie yet, I kind of get the impression that he ruffled a lot of feathers, he raised a lot of eyebrows, had people really in their feelings. And then y'all left the movie theater and went back to your regular lives, back to your regularly scheduled programming. And I get it. I understand. It's part of the reason I chose to actually use movies when I do my coaching. It's to help you disengage from what's going on in your life so you can really look at the problem without you feeling like I'm offending you, without you feeling like you have to defend yourself. Because that's what we do, right? We disassociate ourselves from everything that's really going on. Our past is another life. If we hurt somebody, yeah, well, I didn't mean to, so it's okay. But the point is, everything we do has a repercussion. Everything we do has an equal and opposite reaction somewhere in the cosmos, unfortunately. Case in point, I was having a conversation with someone who is very dear to me, and unfortunately, we have a lot of unresolved issues, and as much as I would like for us to pretend like it doesn't exist, sometimes they pop up, and when they pop up in rare form. I mean, knock down, drag out conversation, and it all pointed back to this one situation where I still don't understand why they did what they did. And rather than tell me why and explain to me what was going on, like, how come you made the decision that you did? How come you chose to live this particular life? And I'm being vague on purpose right now. I promised you I wouldn't be, but I'm being vague on purpose because I want to protect the identity of this person. But the point being that rather than answer the question, they decided to get defensive. They decided to go the exact opposite route and say, oh yeah, because I'm a bad person. But that's not going to let me leave that alone. That doesn't tell me to stop what I'm doing and let it go. It makes me feel like you're really in pain. When you go the other direction, like the other extreme, and start to defend yourself, it means that what I'm saying is hurting you. And the reason I ask questions in the first place is not to hurt you, but for me to understand what you might have been going through so that I have some perspective, that I can kind of calm down a little bit. It's because of this defensiveness, this disassociative thing that we do, that we can't have a real conversation in the real world. It's easier for us to talk about other people. Talk about the Kardashians all day long. I have an opinion about who did what and how they did it and why they should or shouldn't have, blah, blah, blah. All of us do, right? But you bring it back home and you talk about the same dysfunctionality in your own family, and suddenly you happen to be accusing someone you love. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to start more problems. I'm going to give you a real example that I can give you details on, right? So, for a long time, I did not come out and say who the perpetrator was in my life as far as, the assault that I went through. My parents believed in corporal punishment because back then it was okay to cane and beat your kids. It's just the way it was. But what I didn't realize at the time was they didn't know any better. But it felt like the worst possible behavior, right? It was terrible. I survived, and a lot of us did. A lot of us grew up with that, your parents beat you. It's just the way it was. You got in trouble when you got home. And chances are you didn't just get in trouble with your parents. They told their siblings, and you got in trouble with your uncles and aunts too, and you got in trouble with your grandparents. It was a community effort back then. Well, I didn't name the person who had hurt me. And my coach at the time was telling me, well, if you can't say his name out loud, then you're protecting him. Well, yeah, okay, in a way I am. I am protecting him because I know that it would give him a bad name. For a long time, I wouldn't come out and tell my friends or my family members that my husband was not a good husband. I don't know if he knew how to be a husband. He seemed to be a fun dad. He was the fun parent, but he didn't know how to be a husband. And I held that against him, and it made me feel bad. And a lot of times, I refrained from posting hateful stuff on the internet, which a lot of people do for their own therapy, right? Refrain from posting that stuff and naming him or saying that it had to do with my relationship, my wedding, that was my marriage that was going down in flames. I refused to do that because I didn't want him to think that I was accusing him of anything. But the thing is, I believe that he was guilty of a lot of things. So what is the difference? Real life, fiction actually imitates real life, right? A lot of these movies are based on real life situations. The writers are so good nowadays that you have no choice but to kind of fall into step with the movie. You kind of go on that roller coaster of emotions, just like the director wants. Somebody wrote it that way. The actors are doing their part. They're playing it that way. I don't know anybody who didn't get kind of swept up a little bit with Brokeback Mountain. I mean, it was hard not to because they were real people with real emotions. You see it. And once again, like I said before, this is why I use movies in the way I coach, because you can identify with somebody out there. Guaranteed. And when I talk about that somebody, you'll be like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. And slowly it will dawn on you. You know what? I can apply that to my own life. And that way I did not offend you. I didn't piss you off. You didn't run the other direction. You didn't cancel on me. You didn't decide, you know what? You're hurting my feelings. I don't want you to be my coach anymore. None of that. We talk about a real issue. And it will slowly dawn on you that, you know what? Your life is kind of like that character's life. And whether I tell you directly or tell you about the character that they chose the life they had at some point and now they got to deal with the consequences and fix what doesn't fit anymore, it won't hurt you as bad. But you will understand. We see it every day. We see bullies and we're like, oh my God, no bullying. We're anti-bullying here. We don't allow that shit. But how many of you actually want to sit down with the bully and find out what type of life they live outside of school? How many of you want to find out, where are they coming from? What must they be going through for them to show the same kind of care and concern, which usually is no care and concern, to their fellow classmates? What makes them feel it's okay to bully? Obviously, it's something they learned somewhere. How many of you are going to go chasing that? How many guidance counselors today go chase that? Right now, guidance counselor means we prep you for the best college that you can go to. And part of that also means because if we do a good job, it reflects on the reputation of our school as well, meaning to say that, this many people graduate, this percentage score this level, and this many people go off to Ivy League schools and whatnot. How many of you guidance counselors still go out there and do the work, the dirty work, the difficult work? When somebody shows up in the principal's office one too many times, how many of you go follow up and find out, okay, what's going on? Why are they so troubled? What is troubling them? Where does that come from? When you have a difficult boss who likes to pick on you, how many of you actually think about what that boss is going through on the other side? We all know shit rolls downhill. We just don't want to be at the bottom. But the point is, it doesn't feel good to be caught in the middle either. It doesn't feel good to be middle management where your bosses, the people who own the company, are telling you to do one thing and you're trying to relay the communication down to your staff members and your staff members are having trouble filling out that work order or whatever it is and they're riding right back up to you again. It does not feel good. Depression is real. Suicide rates are climbing. No one is teaching people how to cope. And we all come away watching movies like The Joker and we're like, damn, you know what? That's for real. That's deep, man. That hit me. I really felt that. And then what do? It's like church syndrome all over again. You walk into church on a Sunday morning. You're feeling some kind of way. You know you need a miracle. You're looking for an answer. And the pastor delivers a great sermon and there's a message in there for you and you find yourself on your feet and clapping and singing and really feeling the spirit. And yes, you know what? You know what to do now. You have the message you were looking for. You know what to do. And you slowly get up and rise with the congregation as everyone files out of the church. You shake hands with the pastor on the way out. And guess what? You get a phone call. And it's life. Right back at square one all over again. You know what you needed to do. You were motivated. You were inspired. You were ready to do some things while you were in that building, in that atmosphere. But you walk out that building like you walk out of a theater and suddenly it's back to square one. And if it's powerful enough, maybe it stays with you a couple of days. Maybe you try one time and it doesn't work out so good. And so you're like, yeah, no, maybe it's not for me. You give up. This Joker conundrum we got going on, how many times have we seen a Joker in the last 5 years? We've seen at least 3 Jokers. I've seen at least 3 Jokers. And I love them all for the point that they're trying to portray, but the fact of the matter is, nothing happens after the screen. Now I know a really great writer who is doing his best to write a script for this new TV show that's coming up. And I don't know how he does it. It's an incredible piece of work, right? I don't know how the writers come up with what they come up with, and then to put together the dialogues and the scenes and the way that it needs to be shot and what exactly they're trying to portray and trying to lead into the next scene without giving away too much. Like all of that, I don't know how they do it, and I've started really paying more attention. But you got to think about how much media they've absorbed, how much they've lived in their own lives, what they've experienced, because they put a piece of their soul into everything they write. I gotta believe that. Part of this is therapy for them, and part of this is sending out a message to tell people, hey, you know what? What you're feeling is not specific only to you. People feel this. Other people have felt this too. You're not by yourself. You do not have to suffer alone. Please speak up. Let us know so we can help you. And that's part of what I'm doing too. Coaching is both my salvation and my freedom. Wait, did that even sound right? What I mean to say is that by coaching, I'm not only healing you, I'm healing myself. Every time I tell my story, every time I see that relief on your face, every time I see that aha moment, that light bulb kind of go off in your head, you heal me when I give you that. When we discover your path together, it heals me a little bit more. When you're struggling with something and it's so difficult and you don't know what to do and you're just stuck in this decision you have to make, and it's like impossible situation because it could go one of two ways and you don't know what to do. And if I'm able to talk to you and make it as simple as possible so you know what to do next, that heals me a little bit. Not only does it relieve you from some pressure, some pain, it relieves me a little bit. It edifies me a little bit. It reminds me that, yeah, I can make a difference. I think you've heard this before, and I think I've done a post and a podcast on it. That starfish on the beach, where the little boy was trying to throw all the starfish back into the sea, and the old man was like, yo, you know this is like ridiculous, right? It's hopeless. What are you doing? Like, you can't save all the starfish. He said, yeah, I might not be able to save all the starfish, but I saved that one. And you know what? This one right here, I'm going to save this one too. And I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can. And that's basically all I'm doing. I know there's hope. I've seen it. I've seen it on my darkest days. I'm living proof that hope actually works. Me and my daughter, sleeping in this AC room with a fan, with light, with a laptop. Yeah, we share a room because I like it like that. I left a difficult situation before it became dangerous. I found a way to make a living, using my brain, not my body. I found a way to heal myself and heal other people at the same time. You can't tell me that's not the ideal life. I'm there for my daughter whenever she needs me. The school calls me, I can drop everything and walk over there. Walk over there. I don't have to hop on 2 buses and figure out how to get there before anything else happens. I don't have to beg and plead with my boss about how I need to take some time off to take care of my kid, or I need to leave work early because my kid needs me. I don't have to do none of that. I don't have to justify my life to nobody. I found my way. My way that helps other people and helps me. My way that shows my daughter what it means to be a mom and human, and reminds me that it's worth it. Yeah, the Joker movie turned a lot of heads. The Joker movie got a lot of eye sweats going. How many of you are going to do something about it, though? How many of you listen to Gary Vee every morning, get all riled up and like, yeah, I'm going to do something. Yeah, you're right, Gary. Yeah, death, I could die and I need to do something before I die. And then sit on the couch and binge watch Netflix. How many of y'all have the opportunity to travel for work? Travel to places like Korea, Hong Kong, Paris, Australia, various parts of Europe, wherever. Y'all get to travel. How many of y'all get to travel and want to complain about the fact that you got jet lag and just go on drinking every weekend because you can't stand your life? Regardless of the opportunity you have, people out there dying to travel, and you get to do it for fun, for free, because your boss pays you. And yeah, you got to do some work, but you know what? You got time to see the sights. You got time to take pictures. I know because I see the pictures. How many of you appreciate what you do have? How many of y'all notice people who are hurting in your office, in your life, friends that are having trouble? How many of y'all reach out and check on them? How many of you see people post stuff that clearly says that they're upset about something and check in on that friend? And not just when the post happens. Wait a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days, checking on them again. Hey, you good? We're good? Everything's going okay? I got the chance to shoot part of a TV series yesterday for the first time. It was in Tamil, and I was freaking out a little bit because I gotta say, I'm unamplifying my lines, which means I kind of fumbled a little bit, right? Because I've never done it before. And I swear I knew all the lines when I went into the screen shoot, and I totally forgot when I got in front of the people. And even though we ran lines and you know, practiced a little bit, I still forgot, and I still messed up a little bit. But it's okay. I got it together in the end. But I will say this. The one lady that came in and played across from me, she was so in character, at least I think she was in character. So I asked because I wasn't sure. She was so in character that I wasn't sure if she was honestly tired or if she was playing her part. Because she did it so seamlessly. I couldn't tell if she was fed up in between takes or if she was just staying in character. She was that good. And it makes me wonder, people like Jim Carrey and Robin Williams, these people who used humor to cover up some of their darkest moments in life, and then some people think they're just completely crazy. And of course, Robin is gone now, but how it must have felt to step into someone else's life and feel their life so completely that you portrayed it so well on the screen that we all felt it in our seats. How difficult is it to step out of that character afterwards and go on about your normal life because you've been able to live in someone else's shoes. Literally live in someone else's shoes. How can you not have compassion? How can you not have empathy for the rest of the world at that point? I find it hard to find fault with people because I understand that something big must have happened for you to behave this way. I know young men out here who are desperate for attention, desperate for a connection, so they offer their bodies before they even have a real conversation with people. Why? Because it's easier to take physical rejection than it is to take emotional rejection. Dick pics, they're a cry for help, people. Yes, they're being shallow, but why? Yes, they're quite offensive, but why? Yes, I tell them off, and yes, I try really hard not to block people. But sometimes it's for my own good, for my own safety, because some of these people just, they take. I had a young man tell me that, he's a giver and he's really good at giving. And perhaps he doesn't know what giving is, because in our interaction, he took. And he ran and hid after he took. And I felt badly for him. And because I don't know where he stands and I don't know how he feels about things because we don't talk like we used to anymore, I don't know where I stand with being able to ask him if he's okay. These movies, Disney's not playing games, y'all. Disney knows what it's doing. Warner Brothers, they all know what they're doing. The messages out there, they're real. When they tell you go after your dreams, when they tell you don't let the world tell you what to do, when they tell you don't pay attention to the media, they know what they're doing. They're hoping one of you is moved to really action, to do something, to implement. And we get it in all forms. We get it in fiction, we get it in nonfiction, we get a lot of self-help books out there. We got podcasts now, right? We got IGTV, we got Facebook Watch, we got all kind of Red Table Talk. Yo, for real. But y'all listen to these things and you discuss a little bit and then you go on your merry way. You keep on doing the same shit you've been doing all your lives. Who among you are awake? Awake enough to act, to change your behavior, to change your lifestyle, to show the world that you really were moved by something. I'm doing it. I'm doing it because it mattered to me. There literally was no one that could understand what I was going through. Back then, when I told my story, it was shock. Oh my God, really? I can't believe that. Who in their right mind would do that to you? Okay, your response is duly noted, and now I understand that you will never understand what I'm going through. You will see pity when you see me. With pity, you may not be able to help me out of my situation. Your pity will help keep me where I am. I did it alone. I don't want you to have to do it alone. Something changed in our society, you guys. Where everybody used to be involved, no one's involved anymore. They're too afraid to get involved. Oh no, it's not worth the risk. It's okay. I'm just going to stand over here. I would rather donate to a charity where I don't know where the work is going, where the money is going, than actually get my hands dirty, roll up my sleeves, and help out in a soup kitchen for a day. That's what the community is like now. Everyone has a fundraiser for their birthday, right? Please help me raise such and such amount of money for my birthday because I want to look charitable. How many of y'all could read a book out loud? Could spend 30 minutes in a public library to volunteer and read to some kids? And maybe it's not the library, maybe it's the children's ward. Maybe it's a homeless shelter. Maybe it's a group home for foster kids. Your time is worth more than your money. It took me a long time to understand that because I felt really bad for charging people for what came naturally as just conversation. I felt really bad. But what I had to realize was what you can get out of that 1 hour is worth more than the amount of words I speak in that 1 hour. So, about this Joker conundrum, I see y'all posting. I see y'all suddenly aware of mental health. Where have you been for the last 10 years? What have you been dealing with for the last 10 years? Why is this new right now? Why is this a buzzword right now? I don't want it to be trendy. I want it to be important. I don't want it to be like that one girl who happened to have her period during a damn marathon where people talked about it endlessly for a little while. And yeah, do y'all remember that story? I want mental health to be important. I want it to be a natural part of your day where if you see someone in tears on a bus, you have no problems tapping them on a shoulder, offering them a tissue and asking them, hey, are you okay? Can I help? You will not fall down and die. You will not melt into a gooey puddle on the floor. You'll be fine. And you know what? Just those few words could save a life. I'm not kidding. So please, don't just be moved. Move. Change. Grow. Evolve. Act. because the fate of the world is in your hands. You can affect change. One person is enough. If it was in your family, you'd do something. Believe it or not, we're all descendant from the same bloodline. You can change. You can affect change. You can save someone. You can help them save themselves, even better, right? Because that means anytime they face that same situation again, they will be able and willing to do something about it. That's why I teach. I teach people to manage. I teach people to manage their emotions. I teach people to manage the way they communicate, manage other people's expectations with their communication, and I teach people how to manage change. I'm a management expert. It's worth it to me. I like what I do. So if you have seen The Joker, great. If you haven't, please go out and see it. I haven't seen it yet. I will. But don't just see it. Go do something after. Go help somebody. Go share your time. Get to know someone new. Notice. Be aware. Speak to each other. We need each other to survive. I hope this message reaches you, whoever you are. I'll catch you again soon. Bye.